Well, it's dramatic, it's heroic, it's sentimental, even monumental. Well, it's very interesting. Whatever you want to call it, it's definitely exciting to have one of our own boy, own nephew, own child, you could say, from our own community. And his name is Khalid Ali, and he has been signed by the well-known Frank Warren, who many of you may know. And he's also signed up people like Tyson Fury, Frank Bruno, and if you have been following boxing, you will know these names. And we'll be talking about him today. Now, we are here. Obviously, I've got two guests with me, and they're sponsors of the fight, and we'll be talking to them in a short while. But I just want to welcome you to the show. You're with your host Sharif Islam, and this is TV1 UK's One Sports. So, welcome to Samad Abdul Samad, who's on my right.
Hi,
how are you doing,
Sharif?
Samad?
How are you?
Fantastic. Samad, you're from Accident Management, which is a Vantage Auto Group, right?
Right.
And on my left, I have Alam Khan. How you doing?
I'm good.
Fantastic.
Good,
And you're from Tony Allen Estate Agents.
that's correct, yeah.
Well, welcome to the show, both of you. Now, just to go to Samad first of all, how is your involvement in this fight?
My involvement is very minute. I just came about this about a month ago, and it looked very interesting and inspiring to me. This young man fighting, just signed by Frank Warren, who I know, who I've heard of. You know, he's a big-time promoter.
He is, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah. So the immediate interest was there to see if I can help or work with Khalid Ali.
Right.
That's my involvement there.
So have you ever been interested in boxing beforehand, or is it just because he's a boy from our community and you just want to give that support?
No, sir. Boxing is not the sport that I am that much interested in. But
Right.
if you remember, in the late 90s, there was Prince Nassim Ahmad.
Yeah.
He was fighting, and he was a wonderful fighter, and that's when I started following boxing.
Okay.
But after he retired, I stopped following. Now, this young man
Yeah.
is really good, and he's really inspired me.
Fantastic. Well, going back to the viewers now, when I say one of our own, obviously he's a Bengali chap, a Bengali boy, you know, one of our own nephews, friends, or brother, you could call whoever's watching. They'll probably relate to that. And he's grown up in our you know, East End, and his father's been pretty much behind his success. He's a Repton boy. Now, Repton is obviously, it's a famous club which has sort of brought up a lot of good boxers. But you know, there's a really nice story to it, because he started training from the age of 7, and when his father saw the ambition and the drive in the young man, you know, he didn't let go of him. With all kinds of family problems and everything, and people go, you know, have ups and downs, but he stuck by his son. And you know, one thing he did was he trained him to the fullest, and he is the first welterweight Bengali to be signed up by Frank Warren, and in a professional level. So, which is a fantastic thing. Like, going to Alam Khan, how did you get involved, and what was your interest in this?
Well, yeah, I was actually approached by a friend of mine, Mujib Bhai. He's been sort of promoting him and doing some of his media work. And so, and Samad Bhai as well, obviously involved. So we know each other, and we thought, okay, let's get together, let's help this boy.
Yep.
It'll be good for the community, it'll be good for the younger generation to actually look up to him and inspire him. Yeah, he looks good as well. I mean, he's a great boxer, you know, looks like he's very talented. So that's why I thought, okay, you know what, guys, I'm with you, and inshallah, let's support this boy. You know, he's somebody from our community, and why not? So yeah, that's
well, he's fought about 26, 27 fights. He's only lost about, if I'm not mistaken, you know, about 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Obviously, these were amateur fights, but he's always kind of like come on top.
Yeah.
And obviously, I do a little bit of my homework when I do a show regarding a certain individual. And I've seen a few of his fights, and yes, he's strong.
Yeah.
He's very sharp. And he's determined.
Yeah.
He's determined, and he's not. You know, the boxers, you get them talk a lot in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's not like that. He's how do we call it? He's a show off.
Yeah.
But to a certain degree.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing about it, and he's a likable character.
Yeah, he is.
You know?
He is. He's
And he's
actually a
got the
wonderful
name
boy.
Khalid Ali. We
Yeah.
remember Muhammad Ali,
Yeah.
people like that. The reason when I introduced the show and I said monumental, it could be, hopefully, because as Bengalis ourselves, we want a Bengali boy to go forward, and he will inspire others to come forward in boxing or any other sports, and we need that.
Of course,
Yeah,
of course. And I think like what you said, this is not easy. I mean, like his father's worked very hard on him over the years. I've spoken to Walid Bhai a couple of times and so forth, and a lot of parents, I think, hopefully will be encouraged as well that if one of their children want to follow some sort of sports, be it boxing, be it anything else, as well as the community, that the parents themselves will need to nurture them, need to work on them, and there's a lot of effort to be put in.
Absolutely.
And we collectively doing that. Alhamdulillah, I think it's a great thing, and hence the reason why we're all here, and we're going to support him tomorrow, inshallah, and see how it goes.
Definitely, yes. Yeah, the fight is tomorrow, right?
It's changed to tomorrow.
It's changed to tomorrow, and it's at the is the arena?
Yeah,
I think
Copper Arena.
Copper Arena.
Copper-
That's
Copper
right.
Arena,
Yeah, a little bit. Right. Right. Going to Abdul Samad. Like all sports, I mean, it needs a lot of effort. But some sports are dangerous and some are not. What do you think? I mean, obviously, of boxing. Now you've got kids yourself, and this Walid Ali, his father, it must take a lot of guts and stamina to put forward, his own son. Because I was speaking to him the other day, and he's saying, Sharif, when you're amateur boxing, the gloves are different. And he showed me, a cushion, and then he showed me wood. And he said the difference between professional and amateur is this. So as a father, obviously I'm a little bit concerned. What would you say to that?
It is a dangerous sport, but obviously fighting in this country, you're fighting in a good environment, good health and safety measures are taken into place. I don't think any parent should be worried about putting their kids into boxing. It's very different from other sports. It needs a lot of determination, a lot of training. I'm sure it's a very tremendous sport to be in, and I can't see there's much danger element in it.
No, because I mean we know
and
that
I think his dad's also been involved in boxing.
he was a previous boxer as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
for many years. So he if he fought, if there's any element of danger in the sport, he would never put his son in it. So he knows the sport good well.
But there is a little bit of concern as a parent, obviously, because we know from boxing, what can happen in the future. So definitely, so this is what I'm saying. As a father, definitely, the strength and the guts are there. But still, being behind him so much and never letting go. As a father, that is something extraordinary.
Well, he's very passionate about the sport, and he knows the sport. He knows the pros, the cons, the dangers of the sport. So, he is very passionate, and it's not just him. It's people around him, his wife, his children, his brothers, cousins, nephews. They're all. I'm sure Khalid Ali got to where he's got to.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of external support from his immediate family.
Yeah. Well, I have the privilege of taking giving him a few questions, and he's answered a few questions, and we'll go to the clip in a little while. But talking to the chap, he just showed that how much determined he is, and he said, there's no losing, whether I lose or not. But definitely, what he also mentioned was he's got a lot of support from the community, from the locality, and in a wider range, a lot of support from the community. Can we have can we go and see a little clip of what he had to say? A few days away, how excited are you?
I'm very excited, I'm very excited. I put a lot of hard work into my training camp the past 5-6 weeks, so now it's just, time to do the job next Saturday and get the victory.
Brilliant. Right. Obviously your father's been behind you in training and stuff like that. What about the community? How much support have you got from them?
I've gotten so much love and backing from the community is it's been unreal. If I could show you all the text messages, all the Instagram, all the Twitter, all the Facebook messages, it's nice. You know, honestly, it's nice, and it makes me feel blessed. You know.
Brilliant. So you got a lot of support from the community. If you win or lose, I mean, you're a winner for us anyway, for the Bengali community. But what would you like to give back to the community if you did win? What would you like to tell the youngsters?
There is no losing. Don't ever say that. There is no losing come this fight. Is only a win, and giving back. All I can do is give back is to win and to show them why they're putting their faith in me. That's the most I can do. Is Saturday is get the victory and give back to them a W and just make them proud. That's it.
Well, we'll all be there to cheering you on. You know what I mean? So good luck, and we're gonna be all there. All right, take care. A few days away.
You've seen Khalid Ali talking about how much support he's got from the community and the locality. And as you can see, I've got my guests here, and they've come forward with regards to sponsoring, all the T-shirts and any cost that's taking place to get this fight going. But the thing is, when you get such a support, I think it just gives you that incentive. Definitely, it gives you that drive, and you're not doing it for yourself anymore. You're doing it for everyone. What did you say to that, Alam Khan? What you heard, what Khalid had to say?
Yeah, that was actually fantastic. I mean, it's amazing. The boys, he's got a lot of drive, enthusiasm, and a lot of confidence as well. He's ready to win. He's ready to win. And as you said as well, Shoaib, it's not cheap. It does cost money in terms of training and getting the sponsors in and making sure that you have and that enough. Professional training happening, and these things financially, it's a burden on somebody if they can't afford it. So I think it is our duty as a community as well, if we can see somebody, an inspiring boxer or in any other field, that we do come forward and we do collectively help. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why I thought that as well. Be it if it was my son, for example, and if he did want to aspire to do something like this, if I couldn't afford it, and if I did have friends around me, and would they have helped? And I was like, okay, if I was, in that position, maybe I would have asked for the same. Because I can see, and Waleed Bhai can actually see the talent in this boy as well.
Definitely.
As well as obviously driving him, without seeing that talent, and as you said, the previous fights he's had, he's won most of them. He's probably lost a few.
Just a few, compared
just
to
a
the
few.
years.
So his father knows, and somebody like Frank Warren to pick him up now. I mean, that's a huge boost.
Absolutely.
And one day, inshallah, if he does get to the place where he is, you and I can sit around the table and say, well, we were there from the beginning.
We were behind him.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be an amazing thing.
I mean, we know a lot of Bengali fighters. They reach the amateur level. Right. They reach the amateur level. They work hard for it, but because of the support, one maybe financial, other maybe just community support from the family and so forth, they can't really go forward. Unfortunately, our people were not really up to scratch when it comes to boxing. Would you want to do boxing? It's like they don't really look up to it so much. You know what I mean? But he's definitely reached that point. But I think, to be honest, and like you said, you mentioned a very interesting word, which is duty. And other communities, that's what they do. They actually, when they see someone who's rising, they give them that little push, don't they? And they get them where they want to get, and everybody takes the credit for it, and so they should. Right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, what do we aspire most of our children to be? And nowadays, alhamdulillah, as you and I both know, I mean, a lot of our youngsters are doing very well academically as well. So we aspire them to be mostly, doctors, nurses, or engineers.
It's all good, but it's just the usual stuff, isn't it? I mean, get out of the status quo kind of thing.
Exactly. And that's how a lot of these black players, for example, or boxers, to say football players, I mean, they've all come from sort of certain deprived backgrounds, but they kept at it. They've worked hard, and they pushed themselves. And with our community, I think the level of support sort of stops
Yeah.
after a certain period. And where I think that needs to change now,
Definitely,
and we
definitely.
need to make those changes.
Well, thank you,
inshallah.
Alam. Thank you. Abdul Samad, you've seen the clip, and obviously you've had the chance to speak to Khalid Ali earlier on. So, well, from what he's saying and his body language and everything like that, what would you say?
Well, first of all, he's very confident, and I look at someone, and when I see anything more, the confidence in them, I really appreciate them, and I very much like them because of the confidence. Because without confidence, you could be a very good boxer, but if you have no confidence,
Absolutely,
then you're not that.
That's the main thing, isn't it?
But the great thing about Khalid Ali and his father and Mujib Bhai, they're putting a lot of resources and time into Khalid Ali. And Saturday fight, which is postponed to tomorrow, Friday,
Yeah.
I think there were hundreds of tickets sold just from the Bengali community.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the date changed.
That's going to be a bit of a hit, isn't it?
That is going to be a bit
I
of a
think
hit.
that's
But
gonna-
I think almost those people that did buy the tickets, 90% will
Yeah.
turn up, hopefully. But that was a very bad thing when suddenly a date changed, because we were all looking forward to it. My kids are going. I got my two sons going. Alan's taking a few friends, and your kids as well. So it would have been a good day out for us, but
Definitely.
obviously the momentum changed by
Yeah.
just changing the date. But we'll definitely be there tomorrow, and anyone who's watching, if you can get the tickets for tomorrow, there's not just Khalid Ali, there'll be other fights.
Yeah.
But his fight is scheduled for 8:30.
That's right,
So I would say to everyone, if you can and if you have the time, come along and watch this young man. And I think he's going to be a very good boxer in the future, and don't miss it out.
Are tickets going to be available on the day at the box itself?
I'm pretty much sure you can buy. If
I
the
believe
ticket-
so.
Yeah, you can buy.
I
you
think they
buy-
can contact Waleed Bhai as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Himself. Or even, a lot of people know us as well. They can
Yeah.
contact us. We can put it through to Waleed Bhai. But he has said he's going to be there from 5 o'clock.
Right.
And tickets will be available.
Just
You
to
can
know
go
the magnitude of the fight, that's an 8,000 capacity
It's
arena.
quite big, isn't it?
It's an 8,000 capacity arena to
Yeah.
just put a fight out there, and especially in the boxing world, 8,000.
Yeah, it's quite
huge.
It's
Yeah,
a
it's a
big
big number.
fight.
It's a big number.
If we take it light, for me, it feels like it's a very big fight.
Yeah. Well, I've got ringside tickets, guys. So
Lucky you.
yes. So I'm looking forward to it. But like Abdul Samad just said, the date has changed. But anyway, not to advertise it. We're not here to advertise the match itself. But if you can make it there, it's one of our own boy, and he's fighting tomorrow at 8:30, and Copper
Box, Stratford.
Stratford, yeah, which is very local. So if you can make it. But Alam Khan, once again, you're going, obviously.
Of
right?
course, yeah.
Do you know the reason for the change?
The reason for the change, I don't, but I spoke to Waleed Bhai actually earlier on today, Khalid's dad, and so he said to me these things just happen,
Yeah.
sometimes, and I think one of his opponents probably got injured. I think
Right.
that was one of the other things that I
Right,
heard,
right.
and so
Unforeseen.
unfortunately, so he's having to fight somebody else, so
Yeah.
they had to change it around. In effect, we will lose a few. The numbers will be probably slightly lower, but then it's going to be a great night. I think all of us are going to be there. We'll have a good laugh. And I think that's one of the reasons why it changed. But these things happen.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
yeah, fantastic. Well, so you're looking forward to a great day out, and kids going as well?
I'm not bringing my boys, unfortunately. Yeah.
Is
they're
it
a
because
bit
you don't
too-
want them to see?
No, it's not that. They're a bit small still, so
Right.
I don't want
Okay.
to sort of bring them along and scare them a bit. Yeah,
Yeah. No,
they
that's
can
that.
watch it
I
on
wouldn't.
screen.
I wouldn't advise.
Yeah.
If they're
a bit
small, then I
young
wouldn't
still.
advise. Yeah.
They're a bit young still, but inshallah, hopefully in the future, Khaled's going far.
Yeah.
We've all got that confidence, so hopefully, I can take them in a couple of years' time. They'll be
Well,
ready.
definitely.
Yeah, so-
Definitely. What about yourself, Abdul Samad?
Yeah, my kids are going.
They're quite big now, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm fortunate or unfortunate, I don't know. They're
One or the other.
over the age of 18, so yeah, they'll be coming in.
It's
They're,
got its good side and bad side.
they're also looking forward to this, and the first time I said, look, you want to go, they don't really, my kids are not really interested in sports.
Right.
But I said, look, I'm gonna take you to this boxing match. It's a young boxer.
That's another thing that we said. Kids are not very interested in sports. That's not just your kids. Many kids nowadays, because they've got all the digits
Gadgets,
nowadays,
yeah.
right? The digital, sorry, the gadgets and whatnot. They're very much into the virtual reality more than the reality.
Yes.
So it's really, really, I would say, good if we can introduce them to sports, any sports, and get them, because in our days we know that we used to go out and we used to play and whatnot. But nowadays they do sit inside at home wasting a lot of time.
Yeah, so Abdul,
Many.
if you look, so we need someone like Khaled Ali to come up there, show us, because what happens is, so like for example, when we don't really have role models in sports from the Bengali background. So someone like Khaled Ali will bring lots of Bengalis out there into, not just in boxing, will be in other sports. So people will be looking at him and say, look, this young man can do it. Why can't we do it? I don't want to sit home. Well, let me do something constructive.
I mean, to be fair, Bengalis are involved in sport, but they don't go the whole way, do they? Many of them, they don't actually go the whole way. So watching Khaled Ali, it will probably inspire them to, just go the extra mile and just hit the wall, if you like, and say, I've been there, I've got the T-shirt, and just to take that motivation more than halfway, because we know a lot of boys, football and any other cricket, whatever sports you want to say, but they don't really go the whole way.
No, what it is, it's not going the whole way. For example, when we were growing up, that support wasn't there.
Yeah.
Now, if Alan or myself or even yourself, if your mind's child are actively in a sport, we will support them all the way. Yeah. While we were growing up, that support wasn't there. So going 5-10 years, we will have a lot of sportsmen who will be leaders in different sports, hopefully. Because the support is there. When we were growing up, the support wasn't there.
Right. Okay, so to Alam Bhai, many of the sports that we hear about, especially Bengali communities, is usually football and what's the other one? Cricket.
Cricket, yeah, of course.
That's the only other two.
Yeah.
And this is a sports show, so we can talk about other sports.
Yeah.
What kind of sports would you like Bengalis to get involved in, apart from carom board and what's the other one?
No, I think sports is very important in terms of building a characteristic of a child. Okay, and
discipline as well, isn't it?
Of course, developing them. Sports is needed. I mean, hence the reason why. I mean, here they take it quite seriously in schools. So I always, I was actually speaking to my wife the other day, and I always encourage my kids to go to after-school lessons. So be it football. I'm starting one of my other kids into tennis soon. Okay. Because it's not just them playing sports. It's about the confidence build up, discipline, focus, even leadership, because it's quite competitive, isn't it?
So you're forgetting the most important part of what sports entails.
Health.
Absolutely.
Health, of course. The fitness. And so as well as building the mind, it builds the body as well. So you have both, and that's what we want.
Definitely.
You want a brighter future for our youngsters, and you want them to be healthy mentally and physically, and sports does bring that.
Absolutely,
It's a fact.
absolutely.
It's scientific.
Well, a healthy mind and a healthy body, it just it makes you go that far. What about yourself, Samad? What kind of sports would you like our Bengali community to be more involved in? Something that you probably aspired as a youngster.
Okay, so we will grow up in the football world, but I wasn't very good at it. But any sports. So my daughter, she was very good at gymnastics. Okay. She's the only one is the sports person in my family. But then she done a leg in, so she can't participate. She was very good at it. But any sports, anything that's, is, as you said, healthy.
And you think it's very important,
and it creates discipline in your life. Sports is discipline. Absolutely. You have a eating regime, sleeping regime, timing, everything is a discipline. And it helps with your educational line. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be up there. Not everyone's going to make it up there. No. The only few individual exceptional ones are going to make it up there. But we all should participate in sports.
Right. Fantastic. Well, we are going to go on a short break now. Thank you for watching One Sports, and join us after the break.
fit to together.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to One Sports. Those of you who have just joined us, we have been speaking about Khalid Ali, who has been signed by the well-known Frank Warren, no less, and he's the first professional welterweight. The fight is tomorrow at 8:30, Copper Box Arena. It has been changed. It was Saturday, but for an unforeseen circumstance. Apparently, the fighter that he was, or his opponent, got injured, so he'll be fighting somebody else who's on the similar level. We're not supposed to be mentioning the name, which we won't do. But yeah, that's just a little bit of information I've just given you. So if you can join the fight tomorrow at 8:30, then do so. All of us are going. Once again, I've got Abdul Samad with me on my right and Alam Khan on my left. They're both sponsors and promoters of this fight. So welcome again, guys. You went for a little break and you're back again. Now, let's talk about his father and to Abdul Samad. How much do you know his father, and how much do you know how much he put into it? He is a previous boxer.
So I think, so the father I don't know too well, to be honest. Obviously, he's introduced to me by Mujib Bhai.
Yeah.
And, but far as I know, he's a very keen boxer. He's also a promoter. And I've not heard of any Bengali promoters in the boxing.
Right.
Maybe I'm not in the boxing world,
right,
but I can't see many Bengali promoters promoting fights.
He's in the promoting business at the moment as well,
okay,
and he's playing a big part, obviously, for his son Khalid Ali. But yeah, he was a previous boxer. He was the first Bengali to, I think, the amateur level. I don't. Yeah. Obviously, he wasn't, because this is his son is the first. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's been in the field. He knows the game quite a lot. So this is the reason that he's actually pushed his son forward.
So there's like just two of us today. There is other sponsors or supporters, you can say, like Khalal Bhai from Stroot Camera. We've got Sufimia from ATN Bangla. Yeah. There is a lot of support behind him. It's not huge support, but every little support helps. But more importantly, for a fighter or a sports person or an organization to have some local imprints like Alam Bhai and others helping them, it just gives them a boost. The financial support I don't think is that much, because the young man, I know, to do his boxing and go training, he has a part-time job.
Yeah.
He works in Iceland. He does his job. He pays for everything.
Fantastic, isn't it? I mean, the boy, he works in Iceland.
Yeah.
Then he comes to training. It's not easy, is it?
No. I'm sure his day starts very early in the morning. So you can tell this guy is not. Yes, he wants to do boxing, but in life he wants to do it, and he wants to do his own. He wants to pay his way out. It's just while there's a professional fight going on, there is a lot of preparation, and it's not a week of preparation, it's months of preparation.
Absolutely,
he probably had to take a break from his job to prepare himself for this fight. So that's where we are very, it's not we're putting thousands of pounds in there. It's just a little moral support, we could say.
Well, it's really good to have people like yourselves, Abdul Samad, that and you are, you are one of those members of the community who's I've seen myself. You're in support of many aspects, whether it's business, whether it's charity, which is a good thing. So we need people like yourself. But moving to Alam Khan, how much do you know about? Obviously, you don't know much about his personal life, but his father putting time into him a lot, and he's, as Abdul Samad mentioned, that he works in Iceland as well. What would you say about that?
Well, Walid Bhai is actually a friend of mine, Stuart Canberra's Halal Bhai. He's a very dear friend of mine, and he actually has told me a lot about him.
Right.
So
hold on. Walid's a friend of yours, or Halal Bhai is a friend?
Halal Bhai.
Is a friend of yours.
And Walid actually trains him at times as well. So Halal Bhai goes to training with him, and he's been doing that with a lot of people within the community.
Right.
Now, one of the things I think we picked up on, and what Samad Bhai was saying in terms of promoters within our community. I mean, we do need a bit more of that, you know, and we should encourage people who do come forward and who do want to sort of promote other aspiring boxers and so forth. And I'm sure, you know, in East London, this is not the only boxing sort of circuit or ring, you know, where they do.
We don't
it.
have many, unfortunately, as far as I know. Bengali boxing clubs.
Yeah, but I think there could be a few scattered. But the part is when they do come forward and they do get that support, then you know we should come forward. And Hilal Bhai has actually been one of those ones. He's always supported him. I mean
there are a lot of Pakistani, a lot of boxing clubs in the Pakistani community.
Yeah,
and even this fight itself, I think you've heard of Hamza Shiraz, who is a current boxer. I think he's also a welterweight Pakistani chap, and he's doing really good for himself. And I think he's related to Amir Khan, right? And I think, if I'm not mistaken, then Amir Khan's uncle, his name's something Khan, I forgot. He's pitched for Khalid Ali to Frank Warren.
Oh, wow.
So he's done a good job, because then this is when Frank Warren came into the picture, and he's kind of followed his fights and stuff like that, and which has got him where he's got at the moment. So
I think people like Frank Warren, I mean, he's a massive promoter, and you know, I think the only well-known promoter within the UK. I think everybody knows him. You know, as soon as you mention his name, people know him. But one of the things I think Frank Warren and people like him sort of look out for, as well as, you know, an individual having talent and being a good boxer, they need to have a good crowd behind them. They need to have substantial, because at the end of the day, it's about, you know, it's quite harsh to say, it's about money as well. So it's about selling the tickets and how, you know, sort of somebody is within the community and how much support they have. So somebody like Khalid, and that's one of the reasons why we're all really pushing for this, to sell as many tickets as possible. Hence the reason why people like Frank Warren will stay behind him. You know, he will get, you know, that training he needs and so forth, because if the boy goes to a fight and it's a sellout, people like Frank Warren will pick him up because they know to invest money in him. You know,
it's very fortunate for Khalid Ali.
That's what it is.
It's very fortunate because he's worked hard, and obviously, you know, he's on the spot right now. But I just want to ask you, why do you think I mean, because we have a lot of, let's say, millionaires in the Bengali community, a lot of people with a lot of money. How do we give them that incentive to, you know, pick up? Because we know in other communities there are people like Frank Warren. They are looking, you know, for people like Khalid Ali or any other boxers in this game, since we're talking about boxing. They're looking to pick, you know, they're looking for it. But we don't have this in our community. Why don't we have this?
Well, I think it's changing. You know, we don't have it as much, you know, in terms of, you know, the community's sort of the bond and the spirit and people sticking together and people coming forward, obviously, you know, putting their hands in their wallet. But at the same time, you know, people like Samad Bhai are inspiring people as well. You know, this is a guy I've known for many years now. He's involved in many aspects of the community in terms of business, be it, you know, as you said, you know, he does a lot of charity stuff. He's always promoting younger sort of businesses within the community. So that made me come forward, you know, like seeing him. I mean, this chap's always doing everything. Why can't I put my little bit in as well? And so I think that's changing, inshallah, slowly. We do have a lot of, you know, money within it. It's not like, you know, the Bengali community doesn't have the money, you know, it used to. I think we do have a lot more money flowing around now within the businesses and the businessmen. But, you know, it's changing. I think, alhamdulillah, you know, we are seeing changes and people are coming forward. And,
Brilliant.
I can pick up the phone tomorrow, you know, if I've got something going on, you know, pick up the phone and call up a few of my friends who are businessmen and say, well, listen, you guys need to come and support me. And they do, and vice versa. So hopefully,
well, you know,
those changes.
People who are watching today, you know, hopefully a show like this would inspire you, and looking at Alam Khan and Abdul Samad would actually inspire you to come forward, because it's a noble job, I would say. It's a noble, you know, part of life. I think making a difference in this life, we come and we go, and if we don't make a difference, whether it be in your own household, and then you know in the community, maybe in a wider range, nationally, internationally, we know people are making changes, making a difference. I think that kind of fulfills the purpose of existence. To Abdul Samad, everything that Alam Khan mentioned, and you know, which poses my next question, which would be that you've been in many fields when it comes to promoting, and whether it be sports or, as I mentioned, you know, any events and all that, we do see Vantage. So what would, and just for the viewers, like I said, hopefully it inspires them, what kind of feelings do you have, and what brings you forward to be a part of any event?
So what you've got to understand, Sharif, is you've got to see, we're all businessmen in our own rights or whatever, but where do we start from our business? So when I started my business, I could talk to you about my business. The community supported me. I reached out to the community. I didn't know any other community. Right. Yes, maybe today I might say I don't have Bengali clientele or this or that, but I gather most businessmen do, or wherever they start from their own community. Now, going back to your point now, the community has given me so much. Compared to what the community has given to me, I have given nothing back. So any community initiatives that come across and is affordable, it's difficult for me, it's difficult to say no to people, but at times you have to say no. But every little, you don't have to give much, every little will help any organization. So I like, more or less, I like, you know, small community initiatives where I can contribute a little bit, and, you know, an event can happen, or something can happen, or a match can happen, and that little bit that I do give, I feel very proud and honored, and I don't think I'm giving much back because the community has given me everything that I have.
Right. But you do feel like you're giving back to the community. The community's helped you. Not
enough. But inshallah, going forward, health is well. We should all try to do more.
Yeah. But the feeling is tremendous.
It's exceptional. Listen, it's exceptional. It's the joy of the day. Yeah. So this is very big, Khaled Ali. But if you even look at the little events where there's a cricket match happening, you go out there, there's two teams are playing, you know, the joy of the day is just exceptional, you know. And when we are, and for me, I have a time very, you know, I work hard a lot. So when I get involved in these initiatives, I give a little time as well. So I enjoy it as well as the people who play or participate in the game.
Definitely, the passion's got to be there, definitely. Fantastic. Well, Alam Khan, let's talk a little bit about Walid again. Sorry, not Walid, my mistake, Khalid. Walid is the father, Khalid is the son. They got very similar names. But, you know, as a boy, when I spoke to him, he said, Uncle, as a boy, you know, people used to go out playing, kids my age. But I used to wake up in the morning and I used to go training. What do you think, has that taken a toll on his life in a different, would you say that he's missed out on a lot of, you know, everyday things that other kids would do? You know, give me a negative and a positive maybe.
Well, obviously, I mean, he obviously had to sacrifice a little bit in terms of personal life and you know, going out there and enjoying himself with friends and so forth. I mean, I'm sure he had to do that. You know, we all have to do that if we are to achieve something in life. And it's a good thing the boys learned at a young age, you know, that, you know, in order to achieve something that you have to sacrifice here and there. And but then at the same time, I think it will inspire others as well. You know, within the community as well, we do have a lot of, you know, unsocial issues as well in terms of drugs and, you know, unsociable behaviours and so forth. So, you know, it's a fact of life. And where, you know, Khaled can be an inspiration to those sort of kids to come away from, you know, certain bad elements within the community, you know, which is a fantastic thing, you know. And so I think he's doing good there. But you know, everybody has to sacrifice a little bit. But I think he's understood that, and at the same time, it's his passion. It's what he enjoys. You know, he enjoys the ring. He enjoys boxing, and you know, that's what keeps him going. So he'll much rather be, you know, in the boxing ring than be out there and you know, maybe getting up to unsociable things, or even spending time with friends in the cinema and so forth.
Yeah.
You know, which obviously a lot of us just take for granted.
Yeah.
So you have to appreciate that, you know, what the boy's going through and how much hard work he's doing. And alhamdulillah, I think that's a really good thing, you know, and it will definitely inspire other kids as well, you know, within his social circles and within the community, you know, in the area he's in, and hopefully the wider community as well. And one of the things I think, you know, like I just want to touch on what somebody was saying, you know, like helping as much as we can, or the little, you know, makes a big difference.
Yeah.
And I think it's the wider implications of, like, don't forget, okay, we are trying to promote, you know, Khaled here and try to sort of, you know, take him to another level. But at the same time, don't forget that could actually have wider implications within the community, where certain other kids hopefully might get, you know, to that stage one day, you know. So that's one of the things. I mean, we need to look at the wider picture as well.
Yeah.
You know, yes, it's about this young man today, but, you know, through him there could be other aspiring young men
hopefully,
coming up, you know,
it's
and
the
that's
start
what
of a
we
good
need to
history,
do.
right?
Yeah. And that's what, you know, and be it in any other sports, you know, and I think that's what all of us need to keep in mind, you know, when we do go forward and try to help people, that, you know, it will have long-lasting implications on certain other things within our community.
I think definitely will. I think, you know, absolutely, it's a very good move for anybody to come forward in helping others, especially, you know, any young kids from our community, and they will definitely pave a way for others to come forward. What about yourself, Samad? Do you think, you know, what I've asked Alam Khan about him missing out on things in life, you think he missed out a lot, or do you think he hasn't?
I don't think he's really missed out. I'll tell you what, it's about management and time management. So, you know, Khaled Ali is a very clever boy. He'll know when to go to cinema, when not to go to cinema. So maybe you're missing out, saying like, my children probably do it excessively, and he's doing it in a subtle way, which is very good. Because I don't think he misses out. I'm sure he does all the things that he loves, but he's focused. Our kids could be not missing out on all these things, that they're not focused.
Well, you can see the other side of the coin. You know, our kids could be missing out on what he's achieved, or achieving, and all the enjoyment that he gets from training.
What would I rather have, a Khaled Ali or somebody who's just not missing out?
Yeah, definitely Khaled Ali, isn't it?
Definitely Khaled Ali. So, from a father's point of view.
Yeah. Fantastic. I mean, definitely when it comes to, you know, everyday things, so, I mean, whatever you do, to be honest, you get bored of it, you know, after a while. But people like Khaled Ali could show that, you know, kids can come off the streets. Kids can engage in, you know, fantastic activities, which sometimes it might get them, you know, somewhere. It might not get them somewhere, but it is definitely a win-win situation, because health-wise, you know, you're staying out of the streets, and we know where that gets you. And you know, you've been in for example, the Shurma Center, which is let's just talk about that a little bit, because you're involved in many things, and Shurma Center is one of those, and that actually helped children, youth. It was more like a youth club, wasn't it? Even though it was a community centre, it was like a youth club. But it actually took kids off the streets, gave them a goal, an objective, things to do. You know, you taught things, or you had people who taught things. And that's the fantastic thing. And Khaled Ali, and people like Khaled Ali, and clubs, boxing clubs, or, you know, football clubs, or any other clubs that take kids off the streets and, you know, gets them engaged in activities, is absolutely fantastic. There's nothing wrong, and they can't go wrong.
Hats up to those people who do that. Actually, it's incredible you say that, because as you understand, when we were growing up, there wasn't a corner we can actually just hang about, because if you did hang about, you'll get beaten up. So places, the youth centres, the community centres, that was our safe haven at those times. And things have changed drastically. Now, our worst thing to do is our kids playing games and on games and TV all day. So, and unfortunately, all these youth centres are closing down. because
Yeah,
there's not enough funding. But that really needs to happen to get these kids out of the home.
So I mean, obviously you've been in that field. Why do we not have enough funding? Is it because we don't get enough kids to come, or is it because of the people who are running these centres? They're not providing enough activities.
No, you could see from the last 10, 15 years with the economy wasn't very great. So it's mostly council funded. So when it's council funded, they don't have the budget. To where do they cut? So that is one sector they've been cutting. So
Well, it's
that's
the wrong,
the
it's the wrong
unfortunate
sector
thing.
they've been cutting, isn't it? Because the kids are our future, and if they if they cut, so what do you say to that? I mean, you've been in that field, and they've been cutting it. What do you say? I mean, why did they do that? Why couldn't they cut somewhere else?
Well, any services that council provide, they're all essential.
Yeah.
So, that was whatever council it may be, they're thinking that is a sector maybe we could
to
take a bit of that one, because they have to run themselves as well. So I can't really be saying exactly where, because there might be other good
But there must be a committee or some kind of station to protest against such a thing.
Yeah, so if there's protest, obviously changes will happen, but do we protest these days? Have you got the time to protest?
Well, we do see many protests, whether they're right or wrong.
Can you be bothered?
Yeah.
So, things have changed. We're all busy in our life. We don't have time to protest.
I think it's just to get your voice out there, especially if it's something that you're really interested in, and you've got to get out there and do your part. Yeah.
No, definitely.
Right. So the fight. Let's go back to the fight. The fight has changed.
Yeah.
It has gone to tomorrow. A lot of people, they may be joining us late, so I'm just giving a reminder. The fight is tomorrow, and it is 8:30 in the Copper House Arena, and it will be a fight which is one of the first Bengali welterweight professional fight, and you can actually, I've just been asked by the producer something, so if I do pause, that means I've got someone speaking in my ear. You can actually, I think you can get the tickets in the box itself, because there's only one day left, but there are advertisements out there. It's on Facebook, Twitter, and so forth. You can actually contact TV1 as well, and we'll let you know where you can get the tickets. Do try and join us, and it will be between Khalid Ali, and we're not going to mention who's going to be the opponent, but it's going to be 8:30 tomorrow, and we'll all be going. Once again, I've got ringside tickets, so I'm looking very much forward to it. Once again, I'd just like to thank my guests for joining us on the show. I'd like to thank you guys at home, and until another One Sports, have a nice day.